Hi guys, this is Jamie from System22 and GreatWebDesign.com. Welcome to this video. In our last video we added some icons, the actual inbuilt icons from the Divi theme to our primary menu here, and added a background image. Looks fine, looks great on a desktop, but I've noticed a few issues if we reduce the screen size. When it's reducing for smaller devices, we're going to need to add some media queries. I'll show you exactly what I mean. If I hit the inspect button or hit F12, I'm using Google Chrome here. On larger screen sizes it looks absolutely fine, but I'm using the responsive tab here so we can shrink it. And it's looking fine there. Now when we get to about there, you can see this contact icons drop down to a new line. And now the blog icon has, and that's where it reduces to the mobile hamburger type menu here, which is okay. We'd like to reposition these icons so they're aligned left with the text there. And also our logo's disappeared. It's off the top of the screen there, so that's not doing us much good, so we'll correct that as well. So let's go to where it starts to collapse, which is around here. So we want to add some media queries for a max width of where it starts to collapse here. Which looks to be about 1145, 1147. Oh, 1140. No, it's not collapsed yet. So 11. I'm looking at this number up here. 1135. It's still fine there. I'm just reducing it. Yeah. See, it's dropped at 1125 at 29. It's dropped. See where it jumps back up, because that's really where we want it to go from. Back up there. So we'll call it 1133 maximum width. So make a note of that number. And we need to do some media query CSS. So I'm just going to open a new notepad and type some in here. I'm going to give it a title like I usually do with the / // // Now we'll call it that's fine. Now, so we said 1133. So what we want to do is put that @ sign for our media queries, and media screen, and as usual, don't worry about copying this CSS. I'll put a downloadable PDF below this video, so you're welcome to use this to work on your site. Just customize it however you need to use it. And we want a min width as well right there. So in this first one, we're going to put the max width. And a colon, and the max width that we want, which was 1133. Basically this is telling it if a device has only got a maximum width of 1133 pixels, start implementing this CSS. So 1133. And in the second one we want to give it the min width or minimum width. and we want to make that the actual break point, which I happen to know is 980, where it goes down to the mobile menu. And don't forget to put pics on the end like I have done here. And I'll just show you, move that out of the way. At 980, you'll notice it drops down this menu, reverts to what they call the hamburger menu, which is that little mobile type menu. You see, boom, 981. It should hopefully change there, I believe. Yeah, so it is 980. You can see at 981 it reverts back to the regular menu. Okay, now let's see what we need. 981 is a good place for us to be. Let's just put an open curly bracket and a closed curly bracket, because everything we want needs to be within these brackets here to tell it to do it between 1133 pix and 980 pix. So let's see what we need to actually do here. I think probably the easiest thing would be to change the home support RTM, which is the H3 headings we put in there, I believe. So if I right click and inspect them, okay, their font size is 22. Let's drop it back to say 18 and see what happens. I'm just left clicking and putting in the new values here. Okay, that made it a bit small. I don't want to make it any smaller than that really, because, well, let's try 16. We want to make sure that it's readable all the time. And remember, this is non-destructive, so whatever I do here, although it may look like it's really affecting the site, once we hit the refresh button up the top there, it'll all go away and revert back to how it was until we put this CSS into our custom CSS box. Okay, I don't want to make it any smaller than that. I really don't. I don't think that's a good idea. So we'll say 16 pix. What we probably need to do is remove a bit of the padding from these list items here. So I'm going to just copy this bit of CSS here so and make a note of it in my notepad. I'm just pasting it roughly into my notepad. I'll position it later on. So I've just pasted it after our media query there. It's going to need to be in there, and I'm going to have to give it the custom CSS class that we were using before, which was PMI. If you look up there, it says PMI, class, PMI. So it's going to be class, PMI, H3, and that should affect that. Now, I guess we want to take that padding down on these list items here, so let's just click on one of these. In fact, it's right here, so let's just click on one of those. See the green padding up there? If we reduce that a bit, that's going to work. So we want the padding right. At the moment, you see up there it says 62. Let's try reducing it to 50. Well, that actually works. Take it a little bit further back, say 45. Obviously you do it however you want to do it, but I think 45 looks right to me. So again, I'm going to copy all this CSS here and just roughly put it into my notepad, and we'll arrange it again later. Now we only need the things that we changed. We didn't change the inline block. We did change the padding. We did not change the actual font size. So that's fine. So I'm going to keep that. Alright, well that seems to have worked okay. Let's go ahead and put it into our custom CSS. So if we go back to our dashboard, down to our theme options, I actually had it open there, but this, for those of you who didn't, this is where it is, to our custom CSS box. And let's copy this over here. which is our actual media query and our title. Well, all I'm doing is copying from my notepad here. And okay, let's just scroll this screen up a bit so we can see what we're doing. Open this up a little bit more. Okay, in between I want to put some of the stuff that we had there. Remember that H3, I want to put it for that PMI class. So if I copy this in here, and in front of here I want to put .pmi, a bit of space there. Now drop down one more, and we want to copy our top menu list item. Making sure it's within, there should always be 2 curly brackets at the end, because remember one of them is for our actual media query here. So I've put that in, save our changes, and go back to our site and do a refresh and see if things have changed at all. Yeah, let's reduce it down. We say 1133, wasn't it? So it should start to change any moment now. There we go, it's changed. See, the text has got smaller. It's no longer dropping down. So drops down a bit right just at the end there. See that contacts drop down just a little bit. So we can further reduce that padding. Let's have a look, see what we did. That padding, right, let's take it down to 40 pixels and see if that solves our problem. And save the changes. Do a quick refresh. And reducing. Oops, still there. Make sure that padding has actually changed. Right, so okay. See there, it's not actually changed. It's still giving us our 62. See, there it is with a 40. So what we've got to do is I'll put that back to 45. We've actually got to force it, because we need to override this. So I've got to use the important command, which I don't usually like using unless I have to, but I think this is a case of having to. So if I put that back to 45 pixels, and I'll give it, well, also I'm missing a colon off the end. Now let's try that first. I want to use that important if I don't have to, but there's only one attribute, so that really shouldn't make a difference. Let's just try it. That's semicolon I meant to say, not colon. That made no difference at all, so we'll have to use that important attribute. So it's exclamation mark, now save it, and hopefully this time it should have resolved that problem. Yep, there we go. And I see another little problem there. That logo is kind of offset a little bit to the right. And I think that's the actual logo class there. Excuse me. Is the logo class there. There it is. It's that margin left. I think if we give that a percentage rather than a pixel ratio, let's try minus 55% or 50%. Try minus 50%. Yeah, let's pull it back, maybe one just a tad more. Yeah, that looks okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my logo offsets that we did for that when we built that menu, and I'm going to change that to 55%. Or I can just put that in our media query. Let's try that then. We'll just add it to our media query and see what happens there. Here's our media query. I'll just add it after the last one. Make sure not to go below the second curly bracket there. And we don't need the top because I didn't change that. And we'll save that. Now let's see if that's worked. Okay, looks fine there. What happens when we go down here? Yeah, that's worked fine. Still seems to be a little over. We may have to add that important class again. Yeah, see, still using that one. So we'll have to add important to this class as well to just force it. As I say, you really don't want to use important unless you have to. It looks like we have to this time again. So we'll save those changes. And back to our site and refresh. Hopefully that should pull that over now. Yep, that's a lot better. That's central. That's where we want it. Yep, that's working fine. Okay, our next issue we've got is our logo's not displayed correctly up there. And so we need really 9. We've still got an issue just before it breaks there. Just before it breaks there, that contact's still down there. So I think we might need to take that padding down even slightly more. We had it at 45. And if we just before it breaks to the hamburger menu right there, let's just take that padding down just a touch more. Let's try 40. May not need even that much. We'll change that 45 to a 40. Well, I could have tried it out live first, I guess, but they should be slightly tighter together now. Okay, let's try that. That seems to have fixed it. Yeah, that's worked. That's fine. So we'll leave that as 40. Okay, so the next thing we were going to do was, yeah, the logo's disappeared way up there. Okay. I think all we need to do is override the margins on here. Let's see, margin top minus 100, that should bring it down. Margin left 50, will that centralize it? Yeah, that's all we need to do. We need to override these here. So give them a margin top and a margin left of 0. And I think again we're going to have to use those important commands. And we'll put a new media query in there as well that starts at 980. And that's all we need. We just need a max width. Anything smaller than 980, we don't need a minimum width. because from there all the way down we want it to apply. So let's go back into our, let's just copy this right here first. I'm just going to put that in my notepad so I got it. And go back to our custom CSS. And let's write a new media query. So we only want, this time we only want a max width. We do not need the min width. So let's put at media screen. And this time we just want the max width. And make it 980, which we know that's where that breakpoint is. Don't forget to put the pics in. And open and close some curly brackets. Okay, now that what I just copied over here, the logo, just paste that in there. And like I said, I've got a feeling I'm going to have to add that important attribute to that to make it work. Let's try it, because as I've said, I don't want to use it if I don't have to. Refresh. Yeah, it still disappeared. And as you can see, those are crossed out there. We're still on these here. Okay, so let's just add the important. Just copy and paste it, it's easier. After years and years of typing, I am still a lousy typist. Okay, well that should do that. Let's save our changes now. And refresh. Hopefully this should stay the same this time. Bingo, there we go. Okay, so that's all looking good. The only other thing I seem to remember I wanted to change was these here. I'd like those to be left aligned because that text is left aligned there. So let's grab one of those. See what's going on here. That's it right there that we want to change. Okay, well let's give it 0 pixels to the padding left. Which one are we working on? Okay. Again, we might have to give it that class. Let's have a look. Yeah, that worked. You see they're all aligned left now. Let's just get that out of the way. Maybe just because we'll try it without the important under our new media query. You see they're all aligned to that. That's what we wanted to do. If I just uncheck that, see they were kind of out of alignment there. This aligns them left there. So let's just copy this. And back to our theme options. Now here's our media comment here. This is where we want to put it under, making sure to leave that last curly bracket in place. Okay, and looks like I'm missing one on the bottom. You always want to make sure your last entry in the media query has always got 2 of those curly brackets, because it's inside this media screen command. Now I'm going to take that important away right here just because I want to try it without it. Now it's under its media query there, so let's save changes. Back to the site, refresh and see if that stays the same. Yeah, that's great. It stayed on the left, so we don't need that important command. So that's done it, I believe. That's pretty much fixed those problems that we were having. I'm happy with the way that's displaying. Try it on a few different devices. iPhone 6. Yeah. Amazing. They haven't got a 7 on here like I said before. The 7s have been on for a while. Let's see, an iPad. That might revert to a regular menu. No, that's fine. That's how it's going to look on an iPad. iPad Pro. Yeah, you've got your regular menu there. Everything looks to be where it should be. And then just take the responsive off and back to a normal screen. Close the inspector here. And there we have it. That is how to fix your media queries or display problems, how to fix them with media queries. I hope that's been useful to you. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and GreatWebDesign.com. If you've enjoyed this, please subscribe to our channel. We'll be putting up a load more videos. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.